Have you ever actually talked to black kids without the intent of putting them down and degrading them? Oh yeah, plenty of times. Let me tell you about a recent story that just happened. So this guy DMs me on Instagram. He says, hey, your posts are kind of bothering me. I responded to him and I said, okay, why are my posts bothering you? He then said, well, bro, it seems like you're just ignoring the things that actually got us to where we are. And I said, do you mean stuff like racism, slavery, redlining, Jim Crow laws, like the whole nine, all those things? He was like, yes. I said, okay, why should I focus on that? Is it more solution oriented or problem oriented? He looked at me and thought about it for a second. And then he was like, I guess it's more problem oriented. I was like, okay, so come up with some solutions. What would be the solutions? And then he just kind of stared at me. I said, listen, bro, today the system is not holding you back. Racism is not holding you back. Do not let people tell you this. I said, you can tell me all about racism, redlining, the history of our people, how we've been done wrong. You can tell me all about that, right? Now, how is that actually going to help you in today's economy, make money, build wealth, be able to provide for yourself and your family? Unless you want to go be a history expert, try to get paid, how is focusing on that and knowing all that really going to help you? And again, he just kind of stared at me. I said, so you can tell me about all that. Okay, do you know what the S&P 500 is? Do you know what dollar cost averaging is? Do you know how to invest long term? Do you even know what real investing looks like? And he's kind of like, no, I don't know what any of that is. And I was like, this is my point, right? We're so busy focused on the past and history that we're not actually learning how to actually build a life in today's world. And it's hurting us. And as a result of us not focusing on it, we're not seeing success. And then we're blaming it on the system and racism, when in reality, a big part of the problem is we're not focused on the right things. So about 2-3 days later, he tells me, hey, I want to say thank you. And I'm like, okay, for what? He's like, man, most of my life I was thinking I'm never going to get anything because I'm black. And, as a result of that, I kind of, dropped out of school and wasn't really taking my grades serious. And then, your talk helped me understand that that's not the reality. And now I want to get back in school. Now I want to get back on the right path. And now I want to do the right things because I'm starting to see that the world's just not out to get me. So then later, this is 2-3 weeks later, he texts me and he's like, man, I'm starting to see what you mean by personal accountability. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? So he came from a low income household. His mom's got 5 different children by 5 different men. And she had moved them out of that area into a better area. And he asked her that day and was like, hey mom, how did you do it? She was like, anybody could have done it. I just did it. He was like, okay. So then later, he's got dinner with his family that night, okay? Him and his friend are on the way to the dinner. They get pulled over by a cop. The cop is white. Both these men are black. I think his tag was expired. The cop was nice, gave him a warning, sent him on his way, gave him no problems. Even though his friend was rude to the cop and wouldn't tell the cop his name, the cop let it go, sent them on their way, gave him no issues. He was kind of like, I've always been told the cops were gonna get me. Hey, I'm running out of time, so if you guys want a part 2 on a continuation of the story and what happened when he actually got to dinner and everything that played out that night, let me know. I'll make a part 2. Also, most of the time I'm talking, my goal is not to degrade black people. I'm calling out bad behavior and saying we need to raise our standards and be better.